Jefferson Street Baptist Church. Reverend Thomas, let's devote this last segment primarily to what you've already indicated, what you call black leadership. Let's talk about black leadership from your perspective.
Two things that I think, when you look at the black leadership of my day, you know, the 60s, you knew that you were with black leaders because it cost to be a black leader then.
Okay.
It doesn't cost it that much to be a black leader now. All you gotta do is just sign your name with a group and start marching, and they'll call you a black leader.
Yeah. The newspapers and everybody designate you as the leader of the African American community. If you.
But that's a strange thing about black America, is that we don't let anybody pick our leaders. And we have to understand that a black leader is a leader when the people say so. Not when the media, not when city government, it's when black folks say you're the leader. So if you think you're a leader and nobody is following you, you're just taking a walk. You're not a leader. You're just taking a walk. So that is one. The next thing about black leadership is that maybe we don't get a kind of media contact that's needed. Yesterday, when we were marching, it was not until those dogs started biting those children in Birmingham did that black and white media captured black events. When we saw a black on television in the 60s, we all paid attention. Now it's no big thing to see it. So maybe that's another thing. Maybe we have some leaders, but we have to watch how people can kill our leaders with their words, not how they shoot, but what they say. For instance, the president of the United States. It doesn't matter what he says. There's somebody that's attacking the president, you know.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. If he says it's going to rain tomorrow, somebody going to jump up and say, well, he's crazy. If he goes swimming, the first thing they say, he can't walk on water. You know, there's always something that they're going to do. So you got to know that. The next thing is that you got to be proud of who you are. You know, don't let anybody tell you who you're not or who you are. You just do it yourself. So when we're thinking about leadership in our community, let's find them.
You know, Reverend Thomas, one of the big events that has happened here in Nashville quite recently is the proposed convention center that's coming down here. One of the problems that we've had has been an economic problem in terms of finding enough jobs for our folks. You know, our unemployed. Why don't you say something about what you think ought to happen in terms of making us a part of this great construction that's going to go on here, and how we might be able to become a part of that?
Well, the mayor already have a minority group. I think they give us 20 to 35% of minorities. We need that kind of work. We also need, when the president just signed that jobs bill, want to know where that money going. It's waterworks. I was checking to see at waterworks. There's a lot of young men that I've been able to get some jobs at the waterworks who have felonies. They've been good to getting young men who come out of prison who are felons and hire. So those kind of jobs we're looking for. And we got to continue to fight for the felons to get work. You know, why send me to the pen, then get me out, and then I ain't got nowhere to work? You know, I'm going to steal. So there's a lot of young men trying to find some work there. I would pray that the church would challenge state, local, and national government about work for blacks, the Latino, Hispanics. Fight for people who are powerless. That's what we got. You got to fight for folk who are powerless. Those powerful folk gonna make it anyway. You know. I'm just looking at the school system. Right now, they're fixing to let bus drivers and janitors go. These folk are not making any money anyway. We're going to cut the budget on poor folk. Not on folk who got money,
Go on.
but folk who can't make it. So we got to fight for that.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly true. You know, as a matter of fact, one of the real issues that we met on this show earlier had to do with ex-offenders in the state of Tennessee and second chance programs. That they're not enough programs and attempts to try to reach out. And you've already indicated, and I was glad to hear you say something about it, that these individuals, once they have a mark on their record, that for all practical purposes they are still in jail in terms of the opportunities and everything else that might be afforded them. They can't get jobs, they don't have housing, they don't have anything, and so essentially they are almost re-incarcerated, but even though they're not behind bars again. And I'm very, very sympathetic toward individuals.
Well, see, I started going to jail when I was 13. You know, so jail is nothing for me. I missed the penitentiary that close. Huntsville Penitentiary in Texas, I missed it. But it's only through the providence of God that I didn't get sent up there. So when you see me fighting issues for guys in prison, just because folk go to jail doesn't mean they're not good. They're good folk.
Yeah, and I think, as a matter of fact, one of the issues here, I think, in Nashville has been an issue dealing with Bill Allen. I think you've been involved in that issue.
Working with Bill Allen.
What's over the last couple of minutes? Talk about that. What's that situation?
Well, we've been trying to get Bill Allen. Bill Allen has a marvelous record in prison. He makes furniture. He's encouraging folk in prison. Guys who are locked up, Bill had given them grounds to hold their head up, get the GED. He got one of the best records. And so we've been trying to get somebody to listen to Bill and hoping that the governor would let him serve his time, just write it off. Because Bill is no danger. When he broke out of prison, went to Houston, was in Houston for 10 years, never committed a crime, law-abiding citizen. And he went back to prison, did his time. Bill is a good moral leader in prison, and he would be a great worker outside.
You know, I've heard a large number of folks testify in terms of what Bill Allen has been able to do.
The warden everywhere. We were in the prison a year ago. I guess there were about 80 to 90 folk at the prison until they couldn't bring us in the room. They had everything in the outside to talk about Bill. Bill Allen is a prince of a man. And I certainly wished we could do something. And maybe if the community get behind it, that's what needs to happen.
And this was something that happened over back in the 1960s.
That's when it cost to be black. And I mean, I was here, and I know what it meant when a black man got in trouble in Nashville or in the South. It was hard to walk these streets. And I was on White Creek Pike hiding. I was on Jefferson Street hiding because it was rough.
It was just
it cost to be black.
Okay, it was a terrible time for everybody during that time.
For black.
And especially for black folks during that time. And so
policemen see you, Doc, he will just go whoop you for nothing. Yeah.
Well, I reminded you, Reverend Thomas, over the last 40 seconds that we have here, that I got the same gray hair that you have.
Yeah, so
and I was out there, I remember that too. And those were some terrible days. And Bill, I know, was caught up in all of that. And he's still serving as a result of that. And justice would demand. And I've always said that if they were to let him go, they would free a lot of us. They would free me, because I've been involved, as you, for the last 35 or 40 years, trying to get him out over the last few years that any of us have. And certainly it would be a great compliment in terms of the things that he's done if somehow he was able to be able to get back to his family. And of course, we'll be back with our audience next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.